this recording will work, and anyone who didn't attend can see it because we have a special day. So today, good morning and afternoon, anyone on the East Coast timelines. It's not Garfield's Monday. We're going to use Mondays to set the tone for a highly productive and efficient week. We have a very special guest. We have Rasheem Barnett here. And oh, looks like Manila's got a little message. That's okay. So this series is set up to focus on what is important in your business, focusing on the 80-20 rule, which is 20% of what we do generates 80% of our revenue and results. So if we focus on just the 5 important pillars, we will avoid the shiny objects and take an action each week to facilitate change. And we're going to focus our mind on generating profit instead of revenue. Just as James Clear says, focusing and doing little tiny changes will give us a huge impact. So we start all these seminars off with a little bit of facts. Week 1, we introduced the 5 pillars concept and honed in on our market dominating position and the effect it ultimately has on our profit and loss statements. Week 2, we reviewed the market dominating position and how it relates to our customer's journey and the value that we provide in our business. And last week, week 3, we focused on our messaging and the use of AI tools to create engagement. We learned that AI is just a tool that is guided by us and our messaging to it, aka prompts. This week, we have a special guest who's using AI in a variety of ways in his business and for his clients. And today, he will share with us the best practices of how to craft an effective prompt to get the best outcome of our intended purpose of an AI tool. So Goldman Sachs surveyed small business owners, and 68% of them said they're already using AI in their business in some way. And small business reports that they are using AI in 4 to 6 functions as of a 2025 survey, which is up from 43%. So as I mentioned, AI is just one tool in our toolbox of running a business. And the best way to use that tool is to have the right prompts. So I'm going to turn this over to Rasheem, and I will stop sharing so he can put on his presentation. And Rasheem, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how we can use AI effectively.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to share this, and I will tell you about myself. Let me make sure everybody can see my screen. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Right. So today, Katherine talked about, we're going to talk about how to make better prompts, and it's going to start with our processes. So that's the gist or the theme of today's discussion. And by the way, as we go through this, if you guys have any questions, I do have some time set aside at the end for some Q&A. But if you have any questions in the middle of this, please feel free to just stop and ask. I like more of a interactive discussion. So if you have questions about anything, just ask.
Thank you.
And today, so we have a quick agenda here. Do an intro on myself, why processes matter. We're going to talk about the anatomy of a prompt, which is very, very important to get out what you want. We're going to do some real prompt transformations and some activity. So who am I? I'm Rasheem Barnett, and I'm the founder of Imagine Reality. And what I do is I actually help businesses implement AI through various means, whether it's business automation, conversational voice AI, or strategy. So to give you some background, in my previous life, in my corporate career, I managed a testing department, engineering testing department in a $6 billion corporation. I had 2 facilities in Michigan, one in Juarez, Mexico, and another one in Suzhou, China, that I was responsible for. And in that role, did a lot of engineered testing on various things, which is where I got introduced into AI years ago. AI is not new. It's been out for decades. However, just recently, when I say recently, the last 3-4 years, it's become, let's say, financially palatable for smaller businesses to be able to get involved and individuals to get involved. But basic things like, even, if you're using your cell phone and you're texting someone and it does an auto guess the next word that you think you're going to text. I'm sure you've seen that over the last decade. That is a form of AI in some form of fashion, right? So 10 plus years in tech and automation. My background, I have a master's degree in electrical and computer engineering, and a minor in business management as well. And I've built quite a few SaaS platforms that we've deployed. Just recently deployed another SaaS program for digital tipping for customer service workers when we live in a cashless society. And so the idea was to give workers another way to be able to bring in more income when people are not carrying cash. So those are just some examples of things I've done. And I run a few communities teaching people about AI. And my goal is to make AI simple, scalable, and strategic for people and businesses. So that's me in a nutshell. Now let's get to talking about process. Why is this thing, right? And I tell people all the time, if your process is chaotic, your prompts will be too. Let me ask, how many of you are playing with or experimenting with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini? Like, what tools are you guys using right now?
Mostly ChatGPT right now.
Okay.
Claude.
Claude. Got it. Grant, how about you?
Sorry, man. My truck. I'm in the way.
Oh, no problem.
Sorry.
So that's good. And are those paid accounts you guys have, Katherine and Manolo?
I'll go ahead, Katherine. Sorry.
I use the paid Poe, and on Poe I pay for that, and in that I have access to the chat and the Claude and some others. And I've used Claude quite a bit in learning to use chat, but it's not paid specifically on chat.
Gotcha.
And Manolo, what about you?
I do the $20 a month. I believe is the basic one.
Okay. Cool.
For ChatGPT.
That $20 a month is probably one of your best investments you've ever spent.
Oh yeah.
if you know how to use it right.
Yes.
So with that, when we talk about prompts and our processes, I believe your process has to come first in a business setting when you're trying to develop prompts to get you business solutions out, right? And why is that? Because garbage in is garbage out. Your process of your business is key to bringing clarity so that you can provide that LLM better prompts so they can give you better outcomes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so why is that important? We can come up with infinite examples of any business. If your process is out of whack, it's not documented, it's not clean, it's not efficient and effective. When you utilize AI, all you're going to do is amplify all of the bad things that you've put inside of it, right? Side story, in 10 years ago, I was in our church. I was working in the sound engineering department, and our praise team wanted to have new mics and all type of newer equipment that had some of the latest technologies in it. And I had mentioned to them, because I was on the other side of the soundboard, and I could hear, unfortunately, that some were missing practices and things like that, and you can hear it in their delivery on Sunday morning. And I had mentioned to them, hey, it's great that we'll be upgrading this, but know that if you guys don't do the work and do the practice, this new technology is going to amplify all the weaknesses in your vocal trainings, right? So it's that same thing here. AI is a great super tool, and it can amplify what you're doing, but it will also amplify what you're not doing well. So this is why your process in your business is so important. It can create a lot of chaos in your business if you just implement AI without strategically looking at your processes. How many of you have SOPs and things like that written down for your business? Anybody? Catherine, your eyes lit up.
Not
Why?
yet. Not yet.
Okay.
But Manolo, you have a new business, so you're going to start off without bad habits, right?
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hi, Anastasia. I wanted to recognize you. I see you just joined. So it's not much to say about this. I mean, this is just very important, right? This is very straightforward. Getting your processes together allows you to bring clarity to your vision and what you want to ask AI to do for you. And AI can execute much better when you have clarity in your prompts. So this is really the first piece of it. When I help clients with automations and things of that nature, the first thing we're going to do is go back and look at your prompts before we dig into any tech, right? I like to utilize PPT framework. Are you all familiar with that? PPT, the People Process Technology. So it was a framework that was developed in the automotive sector through Toyota. And one of the things is understand what you need your people to do, create a process around those things, and then your technology comes last. Your technology should be policing the process that you've created. And most people do just the opposite. They jump in, oh, it's new tech, they got the shiny object syndrome, and they want to use technology and then try to force a process. And then they go, oh, well, this CRM didn't work, or this doesn't work, or XYZ doesn't work. Well, if we don't understand the process, it's hard to use the technology appropriately to get out what you're looking for. So I don't want to beat this like a dead horse, but understand your process is key to helping you get great results out of AI. This here is probably one of the most important slides regarding the anatomy of a prompt. How many of you have seen something like this as far as the prompt anatomy? Oh, okay. When I speak with business owners, many times I find that people are utilizing AI, right? Like the survey that Katherine talked about in their business, but they're very limited in how they communicate, how and what they communicate to the LLM. And do you know what I mean when I say LLM? I'm just curious. I want to gauge the audience's understanding. Everybody understand what I mean when I say LLM?
No. What's you said? LAM?
LLM is a large language model, right? So remember I asked you what platform are you using? I really was asking what LLM are you using, right? So you're using ChatGPT. Catherine's using Claude, right? Gemini is another. You have a handful of Chinese LLMs that are out there. Mistral is another one. There's probably 20 or so different large language models that people utilize to for AI to get things back to them, execute for them. And most people will put just generic information in a prompt. And when you do that, you don't necessarily get out of it what you're looking for. You might get an answer and it might be something close to what you're looking for. But when you're talking about your business, it is very important that there's specificity so that you can get out exactly what you're looking for, so you can accomplish bringing in more revenue in your business. And so I like to teach this breakdown of anatomy. One, the role, context, task, specifics, and constraints, or sometimes I call them just notes, right? And we're going to talk about this is the heart of what we're going to talk about today, right? What is the role? generally when you're talking to an LLM, if you want to get the best answer, you want to talk to it, interact with it, however you're doing, because ChatGPT, you can actually talk back and forth with it. You can type, you can dictate to it. So there's many ways you can interact with your LLM. Why is this important? And I'm going to go through these in detail. It's like using AI is like unlocking your own superpower. Let's say you have your partner, but your partner is a super brainiac partner, can do and execute anything that you want. But it can only execute as good as you communicate to it, right? So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I have I'm a builder, a residential builder, and my partner is the actual executor. He's the one that's going to go swing the hammers and all that stuff. And he knows how to build any and every type of property that I can think of. If I give it a very generic request and say, hey, I need you to go build me a house, he can go build me a house. And when he comes back, it may not be what I'm looking for. Maybe a house is exactly what I asked for, but not what I'm looking for. If I'm building a development, I might need to say, hey, we have 100 acres here. And on this 100 acres, I need to put 12 homes. And out of those 12 homes, I need 3/4 of them to be 2-story. And on those 2 stories, I need them to have a first floor primary. And I need, an open kitchen to a family room, right? So what am I doing in this situation when I'm talking about these homes? I am creating, one, I'm telling him who he is. You're a super builder. 2, I'm giving it some context. I'm giving him context on what exactly I'm trying to accomplish so that when he goes and does the task that I've given him, he can give me back exactly what I'm looking for. Does that make sense, everybody? So this is the anatomy of a prompt that I like to teach. One, what is the role that AI is playing? So instead of just saying, hey, I need you to write me an email, I might say, hey, you are a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and you worked for, I don't know, name somebody you like. Jeff Bezos, you may not like him. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a name here, right? It could be anybody that you are looking for to get that level of understanding out of AI. Then 2, I'm going to give it some context, right? What am I really trying to accomplish? What's the problem that I'm trying to solve? And more about information about the problem. Hey, what's the environment that this email needs to go to? What level? Is this a C-suite email? Is this going to mid-level management? Is this going to a skilled worker? Who am I communicating to, right? Give it context. And then once I give it context, and the more context I give it, by the way, the better it can respond, right? So imagine having a new admin come to work for you. That admin has a brain. They can work autonomously. And if they've been in that role before, they know how to do admin type things. However, if there's no context, if you're not specific on what tasks you want them to do, and the specifics being like how you want them to do those tasks, they may not do them according to your brand, your culture, how you communicate, your style of communication for your company. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, it does.
So this is why context is very, very, very important. The other reason why context is very important, I'm really harping on this number 2, is because of just the nature of how LLMs work, right? What they are doing is really guessing the next statistically best response based on what you've put into it. So when you understand that, you start to quickly realize that the better I can frame the context of my situation, my problem, my goal I'm trying to accomplish, the better they can statistically respond to me with the answers that I'm looking for that will actually solve my direct problem. Now, once you give it some context, tell it the task. What is it that you want it to do? And then also you want to give it some specifics, right? And these could be examples for it to follow. The how long you want your response to be, the tone in which or the style in which you want it to respond, right? How many have played with any of these items in building a prompt before? No? You, Katherine? Christina? Excellent, excellent. And then I like to give it some constraints, or I don't like the word constraints. It feels like it's a negative connotation. I like to say it's like notes, right? These are notes you want to give to the LLM to be able to keep it within some guardrails, if you will. Because again, without that information, you will get an answer, but the more specific you are with input of your prompt, the more specific that output can come out to you and give you what you're looking for. Any questions on that, by the way? No? All right, cool. So here's just a quick example of a bad versus a great prompt, right? So I see this all the time. I know it seems so basic, but you'll be amazed at how many people talk to their LLMs like this, right? Hey, write me an email for XYZ, and that's it. It's one-liner, and they'll get something out of it. But it's a little different when you say something like, hey, act as a professional copywriter, write me a friendly follow-up email to a client who missed a scheduled strategy call, keep it under 100 words, and end with a link to reschedule, right? So this is significantly better than the prior, and the more detail you can give it, obviously this is really like a basic form of what I just showed you in those 5 spaces, but you can get very, very specific. So there are some prompts that I write that are literally pages long so that I can get out what I'm looking for, right? Especially when we get into automation. How do I'm gonna take my processes and now I want to automate these processes with AI. I need to be very clear on the role that it's taking, the context in which I'm doing this process, right? The task I'm giving it, and the specifics of what I want it to do. Very, very specific. So that's key. To kind of keep pushing this, some of the common mistakes, right? Things are too vague, or there's context. Again, context is so key. I'm gonna keep beating that. That is very, very, very key in getting out what you're looking for. Having a clear tasks. What do you want to do? Like, how many of you have children? Like, I have children. Like it's one thing when you say like, hey, I need this room cleaned. Come back and it still looks a hot mess because the task was not very clear. I'm talking to my daughter right now. She's 15, but I'm like, clean your room is very different than I need you to make sure your desk is fully cleaned off. There's nothing on the floor. There's nothing underneath your bed. There's no clothes on the floor in your closet. Everything in your bathroom. There's nothing on the sink. All your stuff is put underneath the cabinet. Your mirror is clean. These are specific. These are very specific tasks, but at the end of the day, the room will be clean to the level that I'm expecting it to be clean to, right? So everything I'm telling you here is not something that's wild and, out of mind. It's things that we do every single day. And if we incorporate those things and communicate well to our LLMs, it will give us back what we're looking for, right? And so that's one of the main things I want to push across today is your communication is the #1 skill that you can have today. Period at the end. If you can communicate with clarity and detail what you're looking for, you can execute pretty much anything that you're trying to accomplish for your business. Today we have pretty much everything you would need at your fingertips to make a successful business and scale it. It's almost no excuse today, right? If I had these tools just 5 years ago, right? These type of tools for the everyday person, who knows what the world would be like, right? So all of these ideas and visions that you might have, you now have the ability to bring those to pass. So I tell people all the time, don't look at AI like it's, taking jobs or anything of that matter. AI is really the thing that's going to help you unlock your superpower and be able to do the things that you could not do at a very low cost, comparatively speaking, right? So keep that in mind. Clarity of communication is key. Any questions so far, what we've talked about? Oh, Manolo, you have any questions?
No, sir. You cleared up everything pretty good.
Okay, great. That's cool. Christina, Anastasia, I know you guys aren't on camera, but
Nothing on my end.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, thank you.
and forgive me, Christina, have you, what platforms are you using right now?
I use a few. I use ChatGPT. I use Jasper. And then it depends if I need image creation or some sort of design, then I'll pull in another GPT platform. Or if I'm working with a client or org that uses something preferable, then I'll just adapt to theirs.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so everything that I'm talking about, and that's cool, Christina, that you're doing other things like visual design and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I'm talking about applies to pretty much any AI tool that you're going to use, whether it's for text, audio, voice AI, right? This is very, very important for conversational voice AI because it has the ability to communicate back and forth. And if you are not clear on how the tone and the style and its guardrails and where you want it to stay, it can go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then especially like image creation, again, very, very important to over communicate what it is you're looking for so that you can actually get out what you're looking for, because those tokens are not cheap, especially in image creation.
Right.
Or video creation. When you get into video creation, it can get very expensive if you're not clear on what it is you're trying to accomplish. And so I'm going to harp on this again, process over prompts any day, right? So I'm going to give you some examples of how I use this in helping clients with automation and custom applications. Those are the things that I help clients with mostly. And as we have discussions about their processes, it helps to unlock the thoughts of, okay, what about this? What about that? Right? Because a lot of times companies have been operating in their own bias, if you will, and having a third party to come in and see what they're doing, to have experience of in other industries, in other areas, it allows me to ask those hard questions of, well, have you thought about this? And what happens when you actually do X, Y, Z? And what is it that you're looking for to get back out of it, right? So we can fine tune those processes. And then with that, we also use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to brainstorm even further. So one of the key things I like to do is, once I have an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish, and I explain that to the LLM that I'm using, I will ask it, hey, show me what else I'm missing. That's a key thing you can ask the platform you're using. What else am I missing in this case? And if you've given it the context of who you're trying to attract, what the environment is, and all of those things, it can now actually help you develop that prompt even better than you had thought of before. So now I take all of this information that I have, and then I ask it to create me a super detailed prompt to use on itself. So it helps me create the prompt that I'm going to ultimately use within that LLM so that it gets me out exactly what I'm looking for. And this is how I and you all can do the same, can develop your own software for your company, your all of your SOPs, all of those things that help your company run and scale efficiently and effectively. Let's see, I saw a question here. What was that? Are you also creating imagery? So what do you use outside of Canva or Gemini? So Christina, yes, I do create images. I also create videos as well. So for imagery, I use a handful of applications. And depending on, oh, this is something that's very important. I'm glad you asked that question because I almost forgot to say this. Every tool is not made for every solution.
Right.
Right. And I call it a tool because it is just that. Right. Back to the builder example. Just because I have a wireless drill doesn't mean I should use it in every scenario. Sometimes using the screwdriver is the best solution for that particular thing. And so you need to understand the various LLMs and what they're good for. And we can talk about that in a second. I want to address your question, Christina. So yes, I use Midjourney, Ideogram. I use Gemini's Nano Banana.
Yeah.
Nano Banana is amazing. It is.
Is Midjourney seamless, or
Say that again.
Is it seamless to use?
It is. I mean, it was one of the first major image creation tools that was out there. What I like about Midjourney is its ability to have consistent characters.
Okay.
Right. So if you're doing something for marketing, per se, for a client, it's easier to take the characters you've created once you've figured them out, and use them again in later instances by referencing that original character.
Okay.
So,
And then it'll draw variations if you prompt it to?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. However, Google's Nano Banana is probably much easier to use. And not that Midjourney is hard to use. It's just easier because I will say their ability to take your natural language input, understand it better, is a little bit superior to Midjourney's.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And for video, I mean, there's a plethora of platforms for that. I like Veo 3, which is a Gemini product. I use HeyGen for my own videos, as well as Hydra. Those are good. Kling is a very good platform, and Kling and Veo 3 kind of go back and forth. Of somebody launches a new function, and then they go back and forth and fight each other. But depending on what you're trying to accomplish, there's a handful of products. I like HeyGen for doing faceless videos, where I don't have to get on camera myself. I don't mind getting on camera, but sometimes it's something I want to get out quickly, and I can just type it up in the HeyGen, and it will create a video using my AI avatar that I created of myself. And the other reason why I use it is I actually use my virtual business card, and I created a video that attached to my virtual business card so that when I share my business card, I show up in video on people's phones. And why do I do
that's interesting. And that's via HeyGen?
Yes, HeyGen, H-E-Y-G.
Ah, that's even better than Spark then. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, how do you spell that? You said HeyGen.
H-Y-G-E-N.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. Yeah. So you can do trainings, all type of things with HeyGen. HeyGen is not, again, this is when we talk about which tool is better to use for certain things. If I wanted to create a commercial of some sort, I would probably use a Kling or Google Video 3, because that is more of a, let's just say it's flashy, right? I can create various scenes and things like that. HeyGen is very much a better tool for more static videos, right? So yes, I'm moving in there, but I might have a white screen behind me because I'm putting this presentation there, right? Or corporate training, or you take all of your procedures and you want to put your employees through some type of corporate training, but you don't want to physically do the training. I would use HeyGen to do the training for me. Does that make sense?
One more question on that end.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned embedding a video into your card. Are you placing that video on a VPN or a server, or are you using their own network? And is it playable without Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so I use Hi Hello for my virtual cards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so in Hi Hello, you can put an image there, or you can put a video there. And so it just runs off their servers in the cloud.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. And you know, I use that video because your first time meeting someone, your first impression meeting someone, and they get my card, and all of a sudden their phone is the video's playing on their phone, and like, wow. And then that's my open to tell them, like, and that's AI as well. And then their mind's blown. They're like, what? How did you make your business card? Right. So
yes, exactly.
And that first impression just gives them another touch point of trust in your ability in what you're trying to accomplish.
And that video playback is not dependent on Wi-Fi, correct? It'll just auto loop.
Yeah, it just auto loops. Yeah, correct.
Perfect.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, those are tools you can use for creating images and things like that. But I would say if your budget finds it friendly, use Nano Banana. Nano Banana is really changing the game. We just did some things this weekend, in fact, for my wife's book, some marketing for her book. She has a character, a young teen girl that she helps girls with anxiety and depression and things like that. So the character that we've created in all of her marketing, before we would spend probably a good 30 minutes or so in some of these other tools that are great in their own right, but making sure that the character consistency was still there and trying to change the environment, things of that nature. And Nano Banana just does it almost seamlessly. Like literally say, hey, put the character in a purple hoodie and put her in the school, hallway. And 30 seconds later, it's done. And it's also good for product placement. So I don't know what your businesses are, but if you have products, you can take, pictures of whatever product in any environment and say, hey, I want to put that product in, a lady's hand holding it up and she's talking about the product. Nano Banana will do it for you almost instantaneously. So there's some true value there utilizing their products. Any other questions so far? No? This was another, I probably should have took the slide out, but this is a template basically of things that we talked about, right? Act as whatever role it is, you're helping with this context. Your task is to do X, Y, Z, make sure to do blah, 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 and respond in this way. So that's really all I have to tell you today. I meant to create this last portion for Q&A because I was hoping that people would have questions, and they could be specific questions about what it is you want to do in your organization. My hope is that I gave you enough information that it would draw questions out of you, and then I can actually help you go implement something. I didn't want this to be a full just yapping your ear off and you're taking notes and then you leave here and go, okay, well, what did he say? Or how do I do this? Right? I want to create this to be a little bit more interactive. and understand what pain points are you going through? How can I assist you right now? So when you get off this call, you can actually go and do something and get the results you're looking for. Any questions? What pain points are you all having in your business? What are you trying to accomplish? What goals are you looking to fulfill?
Anastasia, are you still with us?
Yes.
Do you have something you'd like to get some support on from Rasheem while we have him here?
Actually, my business is about UI UX design, and I'm using ChatGPT mostly, even for visualization, different things for my designs. And I think now it works better than Midjourney, as I see. But I never tried Nano Banana, so probably I'll try it. Thank you. Thanks for advice.
Okay.
Manolo, you're looking at starting a business that's going to manufacture. Little different perspective. Would you like Rasheem's input on how you can use AI?
Yes. Good morning. So I was here last week and I mentioned that I am in the process of building manufacturing doors out of the city. I'm in Houston, Texas. We currently have a company here that we do the same thing, but I'm trying to open another location in Dallas. So how would what app or what can I use to create SOPs and like a CRM that can possibly help me in something of this kind? Because I'm not planning on moving out. I'm staying here, but I'm visiting Dallas location every once in a while.
All right. So you said a couple different things that I would want to break them down into pieces first, right? So have you figured out how you want to go about starting in Dallas?
Yes, partnered up with somebody out there and pretty much splitting profits and trying to get a little bit more control of it.
Gotcha.
As far as SOPs and stuff like that.
Okay. And so do you have SOPs created for your Houston branch?
No.
Okay. So that would be the first thing I would do. And I say this because at some point you want to get to a place where, you know, the business is not running you, you're running it. Right. And I'm sure you have a bunch of knowledge up here. And so every day you go and act on that knowledge to run your business.
Yes.
What happens when you're not in that space?
I mean, I have people there in place, but it's just not the same. I wish I had something more in place, something more solid.
Yes.
That could possibly help me out.
And that solidarity that you're looking for comes by putting those processes in place, right? And I'm sure because what happens is most businesses, they get started on the thing that they're good at, right? And then you get more customers, and you start doing bigger things. But it's hard to really just step back and go, okay, are we doing the right things? Right? We're making money, but are we doing the right things? Are we making the most of our money? Am I reducing my expenses? Am I maximizing my revenue so I can maximize my profit? Right? So I would highly advise taking a step, but just take a step back and document what you do. What's the customer life cycle look like? How do you first attract a client? What happens when a client comes by? And how do you walk that client through your entire process from onboarding to offboarding? And then once you offboard them, what are you doing to maintain that relationship so they bring you even more clients? That needs to be documented at a minimum. That part.
Consumer journey.
Yes. What does that journey look like?
Right.
And then once you have that customer journey, I would advise you to do two things. One, write down what you want it to look like. And two, audit yourself. Step back and look at your bit and see what actually happens through that process. Are you guys following those things? Right. And then once you do that, you can see where your gaps are. Now that I know my gaps, I can go and put things in place to minimize that gap, because your vision of how it should be is probably mapped out to maximize your revenue and reduce your expenses to the highest extent, right? So if you're not doing that, you're missing out on those things, i.e., you're losing out. You've got some profit on the table that you're not grabbing. So that's the first thing. Secondly, once you figure out that gap, you can also go to every portion of that journey and see, okay, now that I have it in place, but what can be refined, right? There's new technologies out here. There's new things out here. Maybe I don't need a person to do this particular thing over here. And again, I don't like to use AI to eliminate people, but to really maximize their value. So they may not be doing that specific task anymore, but you have them doing other higher ROI jobs or tasks that produce, higher revenue in the end if you're using AI in some of these repeatable tasks. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
But again, the first thing I would do if I were you is document and think Now, once you do that and you know what you're trying to accomplish, what that journey looks like, then we can look at which tools best fit my customer journey. You mentioned CRM. This is why I said I want to break it up in pieces, right? You mentioned CRM. There's hundreds of CRMs out there. Which one works best? And I really don't like it when people say, well, does this one work or this one work? I don't know. I need to know what you're trying to accomplish, right? That's like you going into a car dealership saying, I need a vehicle. And I go give you a Toyota Camry. You're like, this doesn't work for me. It might work for me because that's what I'm doing. But you might need to haul some materials. That Camry's not going to work. You need a pickup truck, right? So you need to fully understand your journey so you can understand what it is you need. And then from there, we can say, based on what you need, here are a handful of tools, CRMs, that we can utilize to fit your goals, right? And some of the things we're going to look at is their process flow and how they handle your customers, the features and functionality within there, as well as what are the connection points to this? Is it easy? Do they have APIs that are easy to connect to and connect to your other tech stack, right? Because you don't like to build, I hate building tech in a silo. You want to understand fully what it is you're looking for, and then we can piece together all the things we need so that your data moves from one thing to the other and works very effective for you.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Okay, for real.
Absolutely. Brent, you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns?
I do not at this time. Thank you, though.
Absolutely.
I have one more question, Rasheem, if you
Sure.
don't mind. What's your stance on when customers want to do an A/B test of an AI product cycle versus another? I'm kind of on the fence. I do think that they can prove different funnel touch points, if you will, and maybe it proves messaging and or swap outs of product placement. But sometimes I feel like it is a method to kind of stall in funding or stall in marketing. What's your positioning?
So I'm going to answer your question, but let me ask this real quick.
Sure.
Is that your only concern, the fact that you feel like it's a stalling tactic? What are your other concerns about A/B testing?
Well, sometimes I think if you're putting in the wrong metric, then you're going to get an inaccurate result, right? If you're putting in an incorrect environment, culture, modality, tone, language, etc. So to me, I feel like when you do that, sometimes you're putting in guardrails that are unnecessarily going to dictate an outcome.
Yeah.
And it's not as organic as just putting something out there and testing it in the world without putting it behind earned media.
Understood. And
so again, that's my own subjective opinion, but I'm just interested to hear what others think.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement
Thank
with
you.
you from that standpoint. But let me say this, though. I kind of fall on both sides of the fence on this.
Same. Mm-hmm.
Because I would, if it were my client, right, I would go back and then say, hey, let's make sure, just kind of like I was talking to Manolo, let's figure out who is this target audience. Maybe we don't have the
Correct.
target audience scoped out yet in our minds. And so doing an A/B test may not make the most sense because it's just like we're just throwing stuff out in the wind, trying to figure it out, when we should really be strategic on who it is we're looking for, what it is we're trying to say to them, and what are we trying to get them to do, right?
Correct.
And once I find that, then I can be more aggressive with going down route A or B.
Mhm.
Now, here's the flip side of that argument. Okay, think about cameras back in just 15 years ago.
Mhm.
They all used, before digital cameras came out, probably 20 years, whatever. Before digital cameras came out, we had actual film, right?
Right.
Roll the film up, make it click.
Mhm.
And you had to be very strategic on your framing, on the lighting, all of the things that you wanted to do to make sure that that picture was going to come out well, because you couldn't just waste all this film.
Mhm.
Well, when a digital camera comes out and you have, you know, what do you call them? What do you call those things? I can't, just lost it. Say that again, Catherine.
SIM card.
Yeah. You got a SIM card.
Everything's automated for you. Mhm.
Yeah. Not just that it's automated, but even on your phone, you don't care. You'll get this thing out and you'll snap 50 pictures for one pose.
Right.
And guess
Right.
what? At the end of the day, you're like, well, I like picture number 7 and I like picture number 3. And you're just going to delete the rest of them. Why can you do
Sure.
that? Not that you're being wasteful, but the technology is advanced to the point where it allows you that flexibility where your waste is not as detrimental to your business as it was before. So in certain situations, I like the idea of A/B testing because you may not know who's really going to be attracted to the product and or service that you're trying to push out there. And
Even in an overly saturated market, you'd say?
you know what? I don't even believe in that. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Most people don't realize on social media in general,
Mhm.
it is hard to oversaturate. And I'm going to give you a real world example. Are you familiar with Alex Hormozy?
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
He put out he was doing a podcast and he was talking about how much content that he puts out.
Mhm.
Right. And he says he puts out 90 pieces of content every single day, 450 pieces a week. Okay. And as an individual contributor, I can't even fathom trying to put out 450 pieces of
At
content
all.
in a week.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mhm.
But he also states that even the people who are fans of his that come to
Mhm.
events and come want to shake hands with him after the event, and he asks them questions like, hey, what do you think about my new release? And they still have no idea about what he's talking about. And these are fans of his. So imagine a person who's not putting out that level of content and doesn't have 50 million fans running after them. You can't put out enough content. The internet has leveled the playing field. This is no longer the days of, hey, ooh, I got a commercial on TV. Everybody's going to see me now. That doesn't exist anymore. Today is the day of attention grabbing. How many eyeballs can you get? And we
Even with improved SEO, you would say the same?
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's
Hmm.
because, and here's the reason why. Even with improved SEO,
Mhm.
think about all of the social platforms that are out here. Let's say TikTok, right?
Sure.
Do you know what the average time is on an individual TikTok?
2 to 3 seconds.
1 to 2 seconds.
1 to 2, even better. Remember when Quibi was coming out
Yeah.
and everyone thought 2 to 3 seconds is going to be the new short format?
So think about that. I mean, if you're not catching people right at the instance, and if your For You page is based on the algorithm of what you've been looking for, right? Which in a nutshell is like how SEO works, right?
Correct. Hmm.
So
Yeah, it patternizes it.
yes. So what we're seeing is that people don't have the attention span anymore because with the internet, what we've seen is everybody has access to unlimited knowledge.
Fair.
So with that being said, I would say you can't saturate the market.
Cool. I like it. Thank you.
So go after it. So other than that, I'm free to come talk to you if you want to reach out to me. This is how you can reach me. Here's my email. I help people bring clarity to their business, kind of like what Katherine said, but specifically in AI space. I'm not trying to, she's helping you all get where you need to be. When it comes to creating solutions specifically with AI, once you figured out what you need to do, you can always reach out to me for a free consultation.
Rasheem, why don't you put a link in the chat?
Yes.
Because I see Manolo writing it down feverishly. If you put a link in the chat, they can reach out to you directly.
Yep.
And after you put in yours, I'll drop mine and remind everybody, as a business consultant, I help with those things like process and efficiency and making sure you're looking at the right important aspects of your business. So I'll drop mine as well.
Yeah.
And that's why we're good collaborators, because we work on different aspects. In each of our consultancies, we offer a different set of experiences. And so together we are able to offer this meetup group and all of you an opportunity to leverage the best of what each of us has to offer. And if I care to overstep a little, Rasheem will also be back next Monday, right? Yay.
Yes.
To talk more about automation, right? Because we have done on our
Awesome.
journey here, we've been market dominating position in P&L, market dominating position in your customer journey. We did that 2 weeks ago. Last week we talked about messaging, because we wanted to take that message and how do we use it. And Manolo, especially with what you were saying, you want messaging for your customer and marketing, where I'm hearing Christina lives. But Manolo, your messaging is internal, but you still use the same strategies of communication, because you want to make sure that you are effectively communicating your vision, your goals, your tone to everyone in the company and everyone outside who's communicating outside the company. So last week's about messaging is very multifaceted for you. And then this week with AI is how to take that messaging and properly write the prompt so that you can get out of it what you want, whether it be marketing or SOP or communicating internally with training programs or HR and how to hire and all of those things that become dynamic in such a multifaceted business that you're creating. And it does take different expertise to put all that together. And we will later in this series talk about that, joint ventures and partnerships where you leverage your referral network, the people you meet along the way who have the expertise that you may know about it, but you don't want to do it, or it's not your strength. That's the catch, right? You really want to leverage your circle to make you better. And back in the Myers-Briggs days, and I kind of say back when, because that used to be the only way we knew how to evaluate each other, was how do we know how we think and what are biologically, where are we wired? And they used to say that presidents and CEOs, the most effective presidents, the most effective CEOs were a square, that they worked equally in their left front, right front, back left, back right part of their brain. And it was tended to be a very small square. But what they leveraged was all of their management, all of their leadership was all about being in a quadrant that was extreme. So the people who they had working for them were always smarter than them. And they always were a part of the pie, right, of the circle, the pie, with an extreme focus on one of those quadrants. And that meant that not only was that leader, your CEO, your president, had that square, meaning they could see everything from every direction, but they weren't the best at it. But their staff was. And so wherever they had one person had a weakness, they created the extreme opposite and brought someone in who had that extreme success in the other way. And that is all about leveraging your referral partners, joint venture partners, your circle. And we do have that coming up later in our series. So I'm really glad that this is a venue for you to find those resources for all of you. We are at
Okay.
we're at the top of the hour. If you can stay a few more minutes and talk to Rasheem or each other, I welcome you to stay. If you have to bounce, I completely understand. And this is a weekly recurring series. It's the same Google Meet link. It is registered on Meetup. I also have our registration link on my personal webpage, so you can join in there. With Meetup, I don't have your direct contact information. I can't reach you other than messaging. So through the app, you are welcome to message me, message the group, find all of us in our social platforms and connect so we can have a better collaboration even offline if you'd like. And so Rasheem, you've put in your link, right?
I did. Yeah, I put in that you can reach all of my stuff through that link as well. Yeah.
Great. I put a little calendar there. Great. Thank you, Christina.
Welcome.
Can I ask as well? Just curious. I want to know how complex for next week. I want to talk about automation and how to get started in the automation space. So, kind of piggybacking on what we talked about today and getting your processes together. There's a plethora of platforms with different level of complexity that we can talk about and actually get people started next week on actually developing some solutions for themselves.
Cool.
How detailed do you all want to go? I wasn't sure how deep you guys were in the AI space yet for today, but I'm curious to see how detailed you guys want to go next week.
I guess I'll start. For myself, it would be interesting to see maybe across the user journey what your touch points are for automation.
Okay.
And any nuances.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the meeting. And I sent my LinkedIn. You can join, and I'm open to different additional collaborations. And now I'm looking for a project for that design. For probably someone is needing my help. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you'll need to unmute Manolo. With the background noise, I muted you during Anastasia's comment.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I would say just if we can go maybe a little bit more in depth and as far as customer journey and documenting the whole scenario with it as far as a customer. That's what I'm kind of interested in for next week.
Okay. So, curious, have you used tools like Miro or Mermaid?
No, haven't.
Oh, Miro's awesome.
Yes, Miro.
You said mirror, like a
Miro is
mirror?
awesome.
Like MIRO.
RO.
Yep, that could be one of the first ones you use to kind of just get a brain dump. Get it out there. Okay. And then I like to use Mermaid as a way to then take that brain dump and create actual process flow with it. And then you can take that, convert it to JSON, drop it into your prompt and refine it.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Well, we look forward to having you, Rasheem. We really appreciate all of this. It really did make, at least for me, the clarity I needed to properly format a prompt. And why, when I watch the TikTok creators, why they say act as a marketing executive and provide me with, it seems so long and drawn out, but I understand now the process about the role. And what's funny, you're laughing.
No, I'm not, because everybody's like, I just want it, everybody wants it fast, you know. It's like,
because we talk, right? We talk that way. But I think what's also important, especially in what Manolo's trying to do, is it's the same, trying to write a proper AI prompt is the same as generating the roles in your company. You need to identify the role. You need to identify what it is you want that role to accomplish, right? People aside, right? What is the role? It's a secretary. What do I want her to accomplish? I want her to answer the phone, answer emails, greet people at the door, get them coffee, blah, blah. Then how do I get them to do that? I want her to do it in person, remotely, from her phone, on a television screen. And then like you said, your limitations. I want her to get up and greet the person and always make sure with a smile and a handshake. I want her to stay behind her desk. I want her to get them a cup of coffee. I want them to ask how their day is. I want to ask if they're okay. I want them to say nothing. I want it to be fake, and I want it to be a sign-in tablet. I don't want a secretary. I want just a sign-in tablet. So the role of the greeter of a guest is going to be a tablet, right? So I think that you illustrated out that in AI prompting and what we did last week with messaging and what we do in our everyday is to remember to understand to whom we're speaking and communicating, what we're asking of them, how we want them to do it. And are we going to be nice? Are we going to not be nice, aggressive, whatever? You know, we all have our moods and our tonality. I think all of that's really important. And the CEOs are the ones, you know, your leader, a business owner, an entrepreneur, solopreneur, who you are and your values and morals and your tone and attitude do flow all the way down to the person who you even hire out to clean your office, right? How you treat that person as a subcontractor is reflected from the top down. It's really important. And I think that if we think of it when we're writing an AI prompt, we'll be better at the prompts as well.
Absolutely. I do have a quick example if people have time to look at it, of a detailed prompt. I'm going to share this here. This is a voice prompt for a voice AI agent that I actually built for myself. So if you call my phone and I don't answer, you'll get my agent. She will talk to you. Let's see. Here it is. So here's a prompt for my agent, right? So, and I have it broken out in various things, right? Here's the role. I gave her a name. Your name is Ava, and you're a virtual assistant for Rasheem. You're polite, professional, and efficient. Your role is to answer questions about services, help callers leave a message, or schedule a meeting with Rasheem. Rasheem assists clients with AI consultation and strategy, voice AI, and business automation. And here's the current date and time, right? And I have some style guardrails that I have here. I want you to be friendly and jovial, right? Some calls are personal. Be concise. Don't use contractions, right? So I'm very specific on the things of how I want her to communicate back and forth. How to respond, right? Adapt and guess. Try to understand transcripts that may contain errors, avoid mentioning things in the responses, right? Like, so again, think of having an admin where they have a brain, they can operate autonomously, but there's some things you don't want them to do or some things you do want them to do. And if you don't tell them, they won't be able to do the things you really want. So you have to tell them with detail, right? Here's some tasks. Initiate a call. Begin with a dynamic begin message, right? Introduce yourself as Ava, right? Here's one. Don't use my last name when you introduce yourself, right? Just say you're Rasheem's assistant, right? So it's all the detail that my agent needs in order to be able to operate in the way that I want her to operate. So this is what I mean. This is an entire prompt, right? And so to your point, Katherine, where you're like, people just get out here and they want to say something real quick. I often like to tell people to use this saying that we use when I used to ride motorcycles, and that is, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Don't worry about trying to be fast all the time, but whatever you do, do it very smooth. And sometimes it takes some time to create that smoothness, right? So take the time to think out what it is you really want. Put that in your prompt. And then you'll get out the things you want much faster than you would if you just say, oh, I need you to write this for me. You go, oh, okay, that was kind of clear, but not quite. And you keep going and iterating. If you just took some time and thought it out and then gave it its instructions. So.
Very good. Thank you for that example. That was very helpful. And it does show the detail that's required in each section. And it also showed that you had sections.
Yes,
That was important as well.
yes.
Yeah, I love it. This is great. Rasheem, thank you so much for spending pretty much an hour and a half of your day with us this morning. I hope you enjoyed being with us and you'll be with us again. And for those still in the call, Manolo and Anastasia, thank you so much for staying late. And we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Katherine and Rasheem.
Thank you.
See you next week. Thank you.